was, I think, pretty simple. We said that the property was not marketed, so there was no way for the town and the selectmen to find out that it was for sale. Except that the chairman of the Board of Selectmen knew that it was up for sale about 3 months before the rumor mill finally brought it to Paul. And I just want to know if you think that a selectman has an obligation to inform, and it's not of a random property, but the property behind the fire station, which was considered an option.
Mike, I answered your question, but I'll answer it again.
But I did want to ask, get each selectman's opinion on it.
But we all understood what the situation was, which is the only interest that the town had was in a small parcel. And if, in fact, the bank was willing to subdivide that, which they weren't, so then the town had no interest, it would have actually created a problem where the Emerson house would have been non-conforming because their parking would have been taken away. So there were a lot of logistical problems, but once the bank says, we're not interested in subdividing the property, Phil had carte blanche, and it really wasn't on his, it wasn't an issue of Phil being under an obligation to disclose anything, because Paul knew that the property had been, that an offer had been made. But the town's only interest was in a sliver of land. And when the bank, who's the seller and a private owner, if this wasn't town land, says we're not selling a small sliver, either you buy the whole thing for $500,000 or you don't get any of it, there was no interest, Mike.
Once we purchased it, we'd have been able to subdivide it as well. Is that correct?
No, and I really would hope that there were all sorts of problems with there were all sorts of problems with subdividing.
Yes or no? Would you, if you'd known this, would you fill the rest of the board?
Yeah, because the town didn't have an interest in buying the whole thing, Mike.
You would have filled the rest. You would have filled the board.
No,
so they would have the facts to make a decision. You would have kept that information.
It was irrelevant. I wouldn't tell the board if I was buying a piece of property on Parker Road, or if I was buying a piece of,
I don't think this was just any piece of property.
Well, no, Mike, it really was. It was like any other piece of property, but there's one individual who might want to make it sound like it's an extraordinary pice of property. We have 800 acres of open space in this town.
It was a piece of property behind the fire station.
But once again, Mike, if the bank had said, yeah, we're willing to sell you the land that you need to build a new fire station there, I would have a totally different position on it. But that's not the reality. So we can't turn back the clock and change what occurred.
Are you speaking to the other board members? None of them would have revealed this information had they been in this situation?
It's not a matter of revealing information. Once again, I don't tell the members of the Board of Selectmen I'm planning on buying a car or I'm planning on buying another piece of property. This was a private land transaction.
I'm going to wrap up that question because it really,
that's all I wanted to do.
It's coming to an attack on Heliopolis, and